Hi, and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch. It's June 19th, 2012, and I figured I'd give an update here on what's going on. I have some progress here in my pumpkin patch, as you can see. I'm inside the hoop house that I built, and so let's take a tour here, and then we'll go to the outside. What we have over here, here's my entrance that I come through. I just use some clamps. I just kind of take the cloth and both ends of the cloth and twist it together and then clamp it with some spring clamps, small ones, because I don't want it to be the clamps to be too heavy that it weights the material down and it starts to rip on it. So I use small ones. So anyways, we have some not so good charismas over here. Okay, going through there. They're there, and I think I'm going to pull that mound and that mound right there. They're just not really doing anything. And I might put in some of those real small pumpkin sweet, I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but some small pumpkin varieties that are 90-day to maturity kind. So there's still plenty of time for that. And now those are also charismas, and they seem to be doing better in that particular hole. Could be the seeds, could be the hole, drainage, that kind of thing. Okay, so then we start over here. Well, this one right here are more charismas. You can see they're not doing all that great either. And then we move over to the Howdens. This mound's doing okay. And over here we have some more Howden pumpkins, and you can see they're doing better. Okay, and more Howdens, that's okay. And I'm going to come back to this mound in just a minute. And some of these mounds, you got some Howdens and more Howdens and things like that. Alright, and like I said, those are doing really well. One of the plants right here, that one right there, is the one that survived the transplant. The other one's caught up pretty good though. And this plant right here, this other Howden right there, survived the transplant. Let's see, this is a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin mound. They're doing all right. Here's another jack-o'-lantern pumpkin mound, and they're doing super in here. They're doing really nice. They've taken off quite well. These are charismas. You can see how they're just puny. I mean, these are supposed to be, gosh, was it around 25-pound pumpkins, if I'm not mistaken? I may be wrong on that, but they're not supposed to be small ones. And over here you can see I have these are the prize winner pumpkins right there in these three mounds. These are supposed to get pumpkins 300 pounds or more. Again, I don't know if I'll get that, but I mean, look at the size of these leaves starting to take off here. I mean, there's my hand right there on just one of the leaves. You can see how huge it is. Okay, so and they're only going to get bigger, the leaves. So those are doing nice. Again, here's another huge leaf right there, and it's just pretty massive. And so that's that. Now, what I wanted to show you, some of the plants are already developing some interesting things that I did want to talk about for my students and those who were just curious to learn about pumpkins. On some of my Howden plants, if you look, let me see if I can get a little zoom in shot. Not sure if I'm going to be able to, right here where my finger is touching, that's a male flower already starting to just a little bud right now, but that's the male flower right there. So I'm already starting to get those, and there's a couple more down there, a couple more male flower buds. One right here, okay, right there's a male flower bud, and also you can see some tendrils right here. Okay, and I have other tendrils on this plant that have already begun to do their job. Now, The job of the tendril is to wrap itself around anything it can get a hold of. It'll wrap itself around its own stems and leaves. It'll wrap itself around on any kind of trestle or anything you lay in its path. It will wrap itself around it. And then what that does is it helps to pull the vine along. It gives it some traction, something to grip onto. And it pulls the vine along and helps it to grow better. So that's an important step going on there. Those male flowers, I know they are male flowers because there are no little fruits underneath the petals. Okay, and we'll see those as they develop even further. It's just a stem and petals. Now when you get a female flower, you'll know it because it'll have a stem, but just underneath the petals there'll be a small baby fruit. That's the baby pumpkin. That's how you know it's a female. So those will show up probably maybe another month from now, I think. Maybe month and a half to 2 months from now, the females will show up. Maybe sooner. These things are starting to take off pretty fast and getting going. So, so let me take you over to another one that's some more tendrils and things right here. Right here is a good example where my finger is. Okay, there's a tendril right there where my finger is, and what it did was it wrapped itself around. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. There we go. There's the tendril right there, and it wrapped itself around that stem right there, and so that tells you exactly, shows you exactly what I was just talking about. It'll wrap around anything. And we also have male flower buds down here also, and here's where all the new growth is coming out of. So this is going to be where the main vine is starting to come out. It's in its infancy stages. Back to the other plant, I wanted to show you that this right here is the beginnings. This right here is the beginnings of the main vine coming out, and I know that because here it's coming out and it splits up here, stem, leaf, and then it continues to grow. Right here, stem and leaf. Now there's no more growth coming out of this one, so I can tell that right here, right there, it's branches off to here for stem and leaf, but branches over here for more growth. And I can just very carefully pull that back just a little bit, and you can look down inside and you can see more and more leaves, true leaves that are tucked down there and folded up nicely, that are going to just keep coming out and keep coming out, keep coming out. So that tells me that that's where the main vine is, and it's going to come out. Now it's going to branch several different times, but that's where it's coming out. So it's starting to head off in that kind of direction right there, which is okay. I'm going to have a lot of redirecting of plants to do. So that's good progress. I'm very happy to see that. Some of the plants not doing too well, those charismas. Really was hoping that they would take off because I really like the look of them, but they're not doing too well. But all the other things are doing pretty good. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, besides those tendrils and the male flower buds already starting to form and vines and things, is I came in here tonight and I told you in earlier videos that I was using neem oil, and right here 100% neem oil. Okay, make sure you get 100% neem oil if you're going to use this product. Okay, now what this does is I mixed it into my sprayer, and I highly recommend getting a sprayer with a nozzle so you can get underneath the leaves on the bottoms, because you got to get those too, because that's where a lot of the bugs like to hide. And what this does is it's supposedly it's kind of like a on one hand it's a leaf polish. I suppose it makes the leaves even a darker shade of green or whatever, kind of pretties them up. But it also controls aphids and other kinds of pests. It's supposed to work against squash bugs, which was the main reason why I purchased this product. When I was reading several different places on the web where they said neem oil is good against squash bugs, but you got to get on it early. So I went and sprayed inside this hoop house, even though they're pretty protected in here from any kind of bugs. But I went ahead and sprayed anyways, just in case something were to happen. Oh, I forgot about my little stranger right there. This is the one that when I was cleaning out the holes before getting out the compost manure, apparently there were some seeds in there, and I just kind of dumped it off to the side, and lo and behold, that one sprouted up. I think it's a Howden, but I'm not absolutely 100% sure, but I think it is. And so it's just kind of growing there by itself. I'm just seeing how it does. You know, it's not in any miracle grow. It's in compost and manure, and there's clay way down underneath, so we'll see what happens. So my tomato plants had a lot of problems with aphids, so I've been spraying those with a soapy water mixture. You just take some water and a spray bottle, whatever, and I'm coming out of the hoop house now. And you just put some dish soap in it. Any dish soap will do. And you spray that on your aphids, and you spray that on other different kind of soft body bugs, and it pretty much kills them right on contact. And that's the thing, it's a contact kind of spray. You can't just spray in advance and have it protect your plant. That's not how that kind of works. You got to see them and spray them directly. And I tell you, that soapy water mixture is great for killing squash bugs, almost on contact. You know, within 10 seconds or so, they're usually dead. Now, you may have to soak the adults, but eventually they will die too. But here we are on the outside of the hoop house. Okay, we're on the outside of the hoop house here. And I did some more work in the yard today. You know, I just, wanted to get some marigolds put in there. So what I did was I, just dug out in between the plants and everything, kind of trenched it out more, got rid of all this clay, nasty stuff, and got some marigolds. Because to me, nothing goes better than pumpkins and marigolds and things like that, just to kind of brings it alive and pretties it up too. So here on this side we have our Cinderella pumpkins, and a couple of them are doing all right. They're not doing as great as they were last year. Like right there, that's kind of just not doing too much. But right here, now these are 2 plants. I wish that was 1. Really do. But that's just that's 2 Cinderella plants. Okay, and I bet if I go looking in here, I'm sure I'd find probably some tendrils and things like that. Well, maybe not. But yeah, it looks like there's some male buds down there in the bottom, and I'm not sure if I'm seeing any tendrils. I'm sure if I take a closer look, I might see some tendrils in there. But so those are my Cinderellas. And over here, not doing very well at all this year, are my Big Macs. I mean, they are just poor, and they did really well last year. They grew great. Unfortunately, squash bugs and squash vine borers killed them. So I think I have another this one actually. That's funny. This one, he just sprouted up like 2 days ago, and he had been underground. I planted him, it must have been at least 2 weeks ago, and I had given up all hope that any other plants were going to sprout up in here except for that one little one. But lo and behold, for about 2 weeks later or so, that one sprouted up. But I'm thinking of getting rid of some of these Big Macs and replanting, because they're just not they're just not doing too well. And this is, like I said, this is June 19th. So if I replanted now, I could have some ready for maturity by about October 20th, which is fine. It's right around the Halloween time. It's great. So maybe I will do that just to see what I get. And okay, so I'm also going to till up this area that I'm walking in right now. I started cutting out the edges earlier today, and I'm just going to till up this whole section right in here very lightly. I'm not going to go down deep because the vines, when they start to grow out and everything, they'll send down their tap roots underneath the bottom of the vines at certain intervals, and I'll just have the ground chewed up a little bit so that they can more easily get into the ground and get what little nutrients and stuff they can. I may add a little bit of soil, kind of till that in maybe. I probably will. I got a few bags up there. I might just go ahead and do an initial till and then go ahead and come in with some more garden soil and kind of, maybe a couple bags or whatever, spread it in, till it in some more, and let it be done. And then just sit back and enjoy. So things are really looking up here in the pumpkin patch. So let me quickly show you my tomato plants and peppers and basil. The basil's doing outstanding. I also have a frog that's been hiding in these hedges that comes out a lot. Looks like the color of the concrete and everything. Is a toad, I believe. So I call him gave him the name of Rocky because he's the color of the concrete. So anyhow, I'll tell you, you can see on these tomato plants, look at how that leaf is curled up like that. Curling leaves. And my dad spotted this deal a few days ago, and he says, you got a problem here. So a couple days later, I flipped over to the leaves, and lo and behold, there was these purplish, pinkish kind of bugs all over the place, laying eggs and all kinds of stuff. And so I did a little bit of research and found out that they were aphids, and found out that you can nail them with soapy water mixture. And I first hit them with poison. That seemed to do okay, but there was still tons of them. I mean, major infestation on this plant, looking sickly. And but then I hit it with some soapy water tonight, and then I came back and a little while later and hit it with some neem oil, because that's also supposed to be good against aphids. So hopefully these plants will survive. The tomatoes are okay. They got some worms that have dug into them, but things are still going pretty good. You can see down here on this other tomato plant, one's starting to ripen some right there. He's starting to turn. But all these tomato plants right here, they had aphids all over them, and they probably still do. I'll check them again tomorrow or tomorrow evening and see if I need to come back and shoot them again. More tomato plants. Here's my bell pepper plant. He seems to be, that's my healthy one as far as looking. Let's see if they're getting any more. And got some there, and this puny little one, just a runt of the litter. And this one, I don't know, I got it from Home Depot, this one or whatever, and you can see some leaves. Something's going on with these leaves. Like, you can take a look at that, and curling up a little bit, but the edges are turning color. I don't know what that's going on, so if anybody out there knows, shoot me an email or something. I sprayed neem oil on all these tonight, so. Now here is my basil plants. Those are 4 basil plants in there, and I really need to come out and do some pinching on them. But my initial pinching is what's got them so bushy looking like that. Look at that, isn't it just beautiful? And I've got to come out and do some major pinching off so that I can still continue to have these keep on growing. Because once they start to flower, once you start to see flowers on these basils, you want to get rid of them quickly, because otherwise that's telling the plant to go to seed, and it's going to stop producing the basil leaves, which I want, so I get rid of the flowers off of them. So I got to do some pinching on here, but everything's looking good here at Pittman's Pumpkin Patch. I will see you later. Bye.